Make no mistake about it, Subriel Matias is a much tougher test for Devin Haney than Regis Prograis ever was. Now, it might seem counterintuitive to say that because Regis Prograis is a power puncher, and most people who gave him a chance were expecting he would be able to knock Devin Haney out. And Subriel Matias, likewise, is known for his power, his devastating knockouts, making his opponents quit. So on face value, they might seem similar. In reality, it's a completely different test, and it's a way tougher test for Devin Haney because of the way that Matias is able to, number one, he walks through, basically his style is to walk through his opponent's punches, get to the inside, and then try and lure them into an exchange where he wins through a war of attrition, meaning his punches do double the damage that the other guy, and then Matias is able to also withstand a lot of shots himself because he's tough. Now, he has to be because his defense is not the best. He stands very straight. He gets hit on the chin way too much, and his footwork is a little bit uncoordinated. He's stationary with his feet. So he has a lot of holes that way, but he also basically wins these wars of attrition because all of his opponents decide to get into an exchange with him on the inside, and he's got such power that he's able to hurt them and make them quit. Now, the difference between that and Regis Prograis and why Matias causes Haney a lot more problems is because Regis Prograis' game was based on sitting on the outside, number one, and using his feints to try and draw his opponent to come to him. And that's a big difference because he uses those feints, but Devin Haney never bit on them. And that's why the fight was so one-sided, because Devin wanted to sit on the outside. He had no interest in coming forward and biting on those feints. And so as a result, immediately Regis's biggest, or one of the biggest aspects of his game plan was completely neutralized. And that left him having to leap in where he was getting countered either by the jab or by the right hand. And these 1-2s combined with Devin's holding just made it very difficult for Regis to have any chance in the fight. Now, Subriel Matias, on the other hand, not only can he just walk forward without relying on these feints, because he's willing to just walk through Devin Haney's shots, so he will get to the inside, number one. But number two, and this is really important, Devin Haney had a huge reach advantage, a 6-inch reach advantage over Prograis. But with Matias, the reach is actually equal. And I didn't even realize that until I looked at the stats. But Matias and Devin Haney have equally long reaches, and that's huge because it means that, number one, we already know that Matias can get to the inside, but number two, he can actually hit Devin Haney from long range, and that gives him a wrinkle to his arsenal that Regis Prograis didn't have, and it means that he doesn't have to just leap in with shots. He can either walk forward methodically, or he can reach Devin Haney from the outside, and if he's able to do that, combined with his fast hands, his fast combinations, his ability to use alternating head and body work, that's going to cause Devin Haney a whole host of problems that Prograis never could because he couldn't reach him. From range, he had to leap in and he had to swing overhand rights, and it put him way out of position. Well, it's not going to be that simple against Matias. Now, that doesn't mean I'm predicting Matias to win the fight, because Devin Haney still has the ability to clinch on the inside, number one. And number two, unlike Matias's previous 3 opponents, he has no interest in getting into an exchange on the inside, because if you watch Matias against Ergashev and also the 2 guys he fought before that, it followed a pretty similar pattern. And especially in the Ergashev fight, what happened in that was Ergashev came forward and then he got overconfident because he was having success, or maybe he was afraid of Matias's power and he wanted to try and get him out of there very quickly. But it amounted to the same thing, which was he was leaning forward with his chin completely exposed, and he was trying to fight Matias on the inside. And for 2 rounds, it worked. And I think basically he got carried away with his success, thought he could blast Matias out, and it didn't work. Because he kept doing that in round 3, round 4, and round 5, but he started getting caught square on the chin, getting hit to the body, but it was all because he was on the inside with his chin totally exposed. Now, Devin Haney is not going to do that. He's going to box at range. He's going to stay on the outside, and when Matias gets close, he's either going to counter him with that right hand or he's going to clinch. And as we also saw in the Prograis fight, Devin Haney has very underrated power. In fact, I think His power is much, much better than most people give him credit for. It's just that he doesn't actually try and go for the knockout. He's much more content to win a points decision, and so that's why he has such a low knockout percentage relative to other champions. But the bottom line is that Matias will still have to deal with Haney countering him with the 1-2s when he tries to close the distance or clinching him. So I would still favor Devin Haney if this fight was to take place because of his boxing and Matias's generally bad movement and the fact that he just comes forward in straight lines. But I want to highlight that it's a much, much tougher fight than the Regis Prograis fight. It's a totally different matchup just because basically Regis was unable to get to Devin Haney on the inside. He couldn't bait him to come out, and he didn't have, crucially, that reach that Matias does. So combining Matias's ability to just walk forward, his power, and his reach, it's a totally different challenge, and one which I would much rather see than the Regis Prograis fight that we just got. So that's my take on it, guys. I think it's a much tougher fight. I think it's much closer. I would still favor Devin Haney to win, but I think it's a much, much better test of who's the better guy at the 140, or the best guy, rather, at the 140-pound division. So let me know, guys, if this one happens. Who do you favor? Let me know all of that in the comments, guys. Thank you, as always, for watching. I will catch you in the next one.